Hello, welcome back to our next part in our Interact mini-series. So, where did we get to? We got to this. Yeah. You haven't got the icon, you've got the text. I've just relinked my original code in there. I will go through that code with you. As you can see, I have a working door here. Now, you can't have this door because this is a modified door off Fab. But what I will do is I'll show you how to download one off Fab and we'll build it together. So this is a good chance to show you where things can go a little wrong when using Fab. You see, it was better when it was the Unreal Marketplace, but now it's Fab. We're getting a lot more different file formats, and the way things are put on there is just, I don't know, a little bit confusing for people who don't know what they're doing. So in Unreal 5.7 you should have tools, window, Fab. If you don't, just type fab.com and go to a browser, and we want a door. So type door in the search, press enter. Now if yours comes up the same as mine, you won't need to do this, but you can go to price, show only 3 products. Now I suggest you look for this one. It's only got a 3.0 rating, it's just for testing, so it doesn't matter. I think it's not too bad a looking door. When I go for this one, it's by Abdullah, I believe. Let me read that again. It's not a bad looking door, it's a door. You know what I mean? You know, why people give that a 3.0 rating, it's not too bad. Right, so yeah, we have a door here, and it's by Abdullah. Abdu11AH. Find this. It should already be selected here as FBX, and it does say 2 unique meshes, but I'll show you what the issue is in a moment. But there is a door and a frame, so I'm guessing that's what it is, and that's correct because I've already tested this. So you can add it to your library if you like, but then hit add to project and give it a chance to download. Now this says there was issues with the download, but it did work. So it pops up this window saying it's done. I'm just going to close that one, and I'm going to close Fab. Now I'm going to show you the problem, and I'm going to show you how I fixed it. So if you go into your content browser, you'll have a Fab folder. Expand it, and it should just be called, ignore all this other stuff, it should just call door GLB static meshes. So there you have your door. Double click it, and did it open? It did, but it's not maximizing. It really annoys me when that happens. If you go down here, right click on the thing that's not maximizing and click maximize, you'll be alright. So we have a door, but it's one big door, so it's a little bit of an issue. It's not separated, it's just one mesh. So when we just come back as here, well, let's just drag the mesh in. There we have the door. Let's move it over here a little bit. If you hold shift, you can drag it across the screen with the camera. Yeah, we have a door, but it's one piece. If I hit play, let's see if it's got collisions. It has collisions, that's a good start. But I'll also show you a problem with that as well. But our door's one piece, so do this, drag it in the same. You must drag it in because it's part of our modification. So with the item selected, top left, instead of selection mode, you want to go into modeling mode. Now this may work this way, I may have to do this slightly different, but we'll try it first. So modeling mode. As long as this is selected, you go down to Xform, transform, and then split. And it's probably already done this by topology. That may not be okay because you've got your handle and things like that. If you don't want to take the handle off, you just for now, like we're going to do. See all these different colours? That's all the different layers it's going to make and the different objects it's going to make. I don't want that. Now, what I did notice was this door has a door material and a frame material. So I'm hoping these are separated correctly, and I know they are because I've already done this, but you've got to live in hope when you don't know. You can separate them by their materials. So we've got ID 0 and ID 1. So let's try that. So split method, material ID, and as you can see now, everything is green on the door and everything is white on the frame, which means they should be two separate objects when we're done. Click accept and click the door. Yes, we have a door and we have a frame. Right, now that's done, it does something weird with these. As you notice, so we click on the door, click on this browse to icon here, and it's showing you the now split items. Ignore these two, these were mine from doing one from scratch, but this seems to work better. We have two items, but they're not anywhere where we can really use them. So first thing I'm going to do, this is the door we got selected. I'm going to hit F2 and just call this modern door 01. And if I click on the frame, it should be in the same folder. If not, highlight the frame, click there, the little magnifying glass, and hit F2. I'm going to call it modern door frame 01. But they're no good to me in here. It's a stupid place to put them. So I've created a new folder called static meshes. So if you're going into your content drawer, yeah, right click, new folder, or click add new folder, and I've got static meshes. And I've already got one for doors as well, so create another folder in there for doors if you want. You don't have to. And there they are. Okay, let's click back on our door frame, search for it again. We want to get that folder in view here, so static meshes, doors, yeah, and we want to drag those doors into there, so make sure that's expanded. Let's go back to this, search, and then click one, shift or control click the other, click and hold, drag into doors, and click move here. Done. The thing is though, the textures are still and the materials are still up here. If you want to, you can put them in this folder, the GLB folder. That might be a better idea, to be fair. So let's do that instead. As the only reason because the textures is there really. So we'll put that into static meshes of that door GLB there, and it just keeps them in the same place. And then if we got here, we've got the door, we've got the modern one. Let's get rid of the original. I'm going to delete that. We're not using it. So we have a door. How do we make this a usable door? So not difficult. Let's go back into selection mode. So come out of modeling mode, go into selection. We have our door, but we don't want them. So let's get rid of these two. And we're going to go into the content drawer, and I'm going to go into my actors and get my interactable actor, right click and create child, and I'm going to call this BP underscore modern door 01. Right, double click to open it, and it's open. Let's do it again. Maximize. Right, go to your content drawer, scroll down and find your door again, go to your static meshes and highlight the frame. Come up to add, start typing static mesh, and as you can see, modern door frame 01 is already there, so click it and it automatically puts it in for you. Yep, so we have our door frame. Do the same again, go to the drawer, modern door 01. Yeah, and add static mesh modern door 01. Click. I accidentally clicked there without naming it, and then I've just modern. Oh, to be fair, I'm just going to rename it as it's in here. That's door frame, and I'm going to rename that to just door, because in here it makes no difference. Okay, as you notice, the door has become a child of the frame, which is fine, because what happens then if you move the frame, the door goes with it. Yeah, Control Z. So the door is now part of the frame. We want to make it open, so let's just test this. So the up arrow is the Z, that's the one we want to rotate round. So we get the rotation, and it's become a revolving door. That's no good. So undo that. Two ways to fix this. I'm not going to show you the first way, which is the hard way. You can go back in and modify this model and move the pivot point, but as it's at the bottom anyway, it doesn't really matter. But you can remove the pivot point. Move the pivot point, not remove. And you can put it on one of these corners. But instead, if you click your door frame here, we'll do it the easy way, and click add and type scene. Now you want this one here that's just say scene. If you click on that, we're going to call that hinge. Basically what a scene object is, a scene component, is what's probably known in the world as a null. It's an empty object that has no form, but it allows you to rotate and spin and move and whatever. So it's basically like an operational object. It's now attached to the door frame. Now what we want to do is attach the door to the hinge. So if you drag the door on top of the hinge, there we go. Now, as you can see, the hinge is all the way over here, which is not a good spot. So what we're going to have to do is zoom in a bit here and click and hold and press Control and drag. Well, I don't have to press Control actually, and just drop that as close as you can down, get it so it looks like half of that green arrows missing. So it's all the way over here now, but as you can see, the door's now in the wrong place. So just click on the door, and if you just click undo on that for now, so it goes to zeros, it's about half and half. So you're just gonna have to give it a bit of a guess. Or you could just drag the red arrow here and drag it across, get it close, and then you think, it looks about 60. So we're going to go with 60 and reset that value there just in case. Okay, let's have a look in there. There's a little bit of a gap there and a little bit of a gap there. That's right, that's our door. Height's about right. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So our door now at 60 cent, it must be about 120 wide, I guess. So it's 60 centimeters across. It's centered now on the hinge. Now if you click the hinge, and that's also 60 as well. Okay, cool, minus 60, and 0 that as well. So we get our z-axis, our yaw, yeah, and if we go into, press E and go into, select the hinge, and then E, it's not letting me use it. Why not? E, there it is, and rotate. The door is now opening and closing in the right way. Undo that. So we now have a door with a hinge that rotates. So now what we can do is we can make this interactable. Now, as you're going to see now, we've saved this. It's already an interact object because we parented it there, interact actor. We minimize, go to the content drawer, find our new door, which is, where did I put it? Where did I put this new door? find it. Oh, it's still there. I'm going to drop that into my interactables and doors. I should have done it through there. There you go. So back down, drag our door out into the wild world, hit play, but as you can see, it's no interact on it. But do you remember the ball and the cube and the way I did this one? If I just was checking to see if there's an interact actor, even the frame would show up as an interact actor, which I don't want. And you got some laminate kind of look there. It looks like a really cheap door from a really cheap door seller, but it works. It looks real. Right, comment. So back to our door. We don't want to mark the hinge or the door frame as interactable because they're not, but we do want to mark the door. So we click on the door, come up here, and the top right, the panels, and in the search type tags, add the plus and interactable. Compile and save, and now we have a problem, which I didn't check the first time. What's happened is we can walk through it and it's not interacting. And there is a reason for this, and since we did some work on it, there is something missing from it, and that's collisions. It has none. It's just a static mesh, but it's not been told that it needs collisions. It's an easy fix. We haven't got to worry about it too much. We'll fix that next. But just to show you, that's what would happen when you get some of these objects off the marketplace. So let's fix that. So escape, and we're going to go into our content drawer and open our door, highlight the door, make sure you clear your detail search here, find your mesh and click search and double click it. So there's our door, and if we go to this little eye up here and click simple collision, there's nothing. It may have a complex. It does have a complex, but I'm not going to use the complex. I just want simple, and that's what we're looking at. Most of our traces use simple collisions, so we can add those in, and it's for a door. It's simple. I don't care about the door handle because the door handle is not going to be used in this instance. Later on you may want to put separate collision and use that as the detection point and as that as a separate object, but in this case no, we're just going to do simple. So all we want to do is add a collision to this. If you go up to collision here and just put add box simplified collision, but as you notice it's a little bit wide, but it's not too much of an issue. Yeah, I'm not going to complain at that. I don't think it's going to give me too much of an issue. So if I save that, come back out and hit play, let's see what happens when we get close to it. It's got our interact on it now, and yeah, it's not right. That's all right. Yeah, I don't mind that. But as you can see, the frame is not. We're shooting a trace through the frame because it has no collision. So the collision itself on the frame isn't there. It looks like it is, but we're actually hitting the door one. But to fix that one, we'll close that one. Click on our frame in the actor, in our blueprint actor, and find the frame here, static mesh, search, double click. If you know your way around the content drawer, do it that way. It's just trying to make it easy. Again, if we light it up, simple collision, no. So what we could do is click on here and add box simplified collision, hit save, but it's going to cause us a problem, and I'll show you why. What I'm going to do now is go back to our door, and we're going to open the where is it? It's in here, sorry. We're going to open it. So oops, hinge, make sure you select the hinge, and then we're going to open the door, right, all the way open. Save that, and then we're going to come through and we're going to walk through the door. We can't come through because we use the simplified collision. You probably already guessed this already, but some of you may not. But as you can see the green lines down there, it's just put a box in. So I'm going to go collision, remove. We could do auto convex. So if you click auto convex and click this little box will appear here and click apply, it makes some funky collisions, and they do work. Yeah. But if I remove the collision, we can also do this. There is a mode somewhere in here that allows us to use the collision presets and change them. Here it is. It's called collision complexity. You've got simple and complex, but if you click on that and say use the complex collision as simple, all of a sudden the whole of the mesh becomes a simple collision. Now there's a lot of detail on there. You probably might want to use the auto convex, which does work, and it should work pretty fine for a doorway. It might not work so much for other stuff, but as you can see here, that's a lot of detail for a collision box. But I don't think it's going to be too much an issue. I'm going to hit save there, come out of there, hit play, and now we've done that. We can hit the frame. We can't go through it. Yeah, it's not coming up as an actor because we haven't given it a tag. We can't shoot through it at the door, but we can go around it. Yeah, so now it's a working door. So there we go. We have created a door and a frame from a fab asset that didn't look like it was built very well because of the way, I don't know if it's the way it exports or the way fab does it, I don't know, but it's now turned out to be a door. But we can't interact because we don't have any interact code in there at the moment, which is fine. One last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my door, in there, my door, get rid of that. We've closed that and saved that, and we'll close that back, so zero that back out, and we're going to change the interact text. If it doesn't show, remember you go click here, show inherited variables. Yeah, and this one's going to say open. Okay, so when we come to the door, it says open. Now, like I said, we can always separate this piece and use that as the interaction, but in this instance, it's not, just to show you this, it's not worth me going through it, but it wouldn't be much more difficult to do that yourself. Just add that in. There is a bit of overlap on the, oh no, it was the angle, or was that, sorry, look, there we go. It must be the, yeah, because we've got a slightly wider collision box, but it's not, you know, you're not going to be sitting there testing to see if you can open a door at an angle, are you? So yeah, we have a door, and we can now start putting some code in. Now I'm not going to do that today or with this episode. I'm going to do that in the next episode, but we're just going to add in a variable that we might need to say whether the door is open or closed. So if you come down to variables and click plus and just call it is door open, click enter. If it didn't already select it, choose Boolean and make it viewable. Okay, compile and save. Make sure the door is in its closed position and make sure that is unticked. Yeah, you can only modify that if you compile and save. So yeah, make sure that is unticked, and that's ready now for us to put code in to open the door. And we'll do that in the next episode. We'll make the door openable, and then we'll make it interactable opener. So what I'm going to do is make it so it opens to an animation, and we'll have like a button on the editor just so we can test it. And then after that, we will make it so we can actually click and open the door. Not too bad, eh? Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was just a bit of more of a tutorial on some of the issues you can get when downloading models from places like Fab. There's a lot of models on there that are separated properly and some that aren't, and they're not always easy to fix. Sometimes it does take a modeler to do so, so it can be a pain, and some are made really well where they're already separated. So if that's the case, yeah, your quid's in. But a simple door like this, it's free, you can't complain. It was a simple process, it wasn't difficult. We separated it, we moved it, and now we put the collisions on, show you how to do collisions, and now we have a door that's ready to go on a hinge with a door frame. Excellent. Right, well, thanks for watching. Again, I hope you've learned something from this, and in the next episode we'll animate the opening and closing of this door. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.